And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Good day to everyone and welcome to the Weighing In podcast. We've got a ton to talk about. We had the UFC from the Apex Center with Holm taking on Silva, who absolutely proved she belongs. And there was a couple other fights that we're going to talk about in there. We got some things going on with some matchups, some people being hurt, a whole lot to talk about. You know what it's like to be hurt. You got hurt a lot. You were very fragile.
Early in my career.
They put you in a box that said, handle with care, fragile.
Yeah, you are actually 100% correct. I still hold the record. If you ask Sean Shelby, I still hold the record. If you ask Sean Shelby, I'm the fighter that signed a contract to fight in the UFC, and it took me almost 2 years to actually have my first fight because I just kept getting injured. I think Glover Teixeira was very close to that. They just didn't sign him because he had visa problems for such a long time.
He had visa problems,
but they were itching to sign him for the longest time. They just couldn't get him signed. So look, let's go ahead and bring this back, John. We lost John for a split second. That's the way we started.
You were talking about your injury problem.
Yes.
2 years it took you to fight.
Yep. And
you definitely did have ankle problems.
No, I did. I ended up breaking my ankle. That was later on, though, a little bit more in my career. I was already in Strikeforce for that one. But no, I had a sciatica problem because right before my first fight, it was supposed to be against João Perini. Frank Shamrock spearoed me right in my spine, and it just activated. So I had a sharp pain from the middle of my back all the way down my right hip, all the way down into my calf. It was so painful.
Of course, Frank Shamrock would do that.
Yes. Frank Shamrock was, him and I were just like best of buds. we had at it for a couple times in training, and
you hit it off so well.
Yeah, sometimes people rub you the wrong way, and you got to remind yourself that hey, you can't let people treat you that way, or they'll keep doing it the rest of your life.
This is true.
So, no, but I think I held the record for the longest time from signing the contract to sign with the UFC and not fighting. It took me about 2 years. I had the Matt Serra fight lined up, then I had the João Perini fight lined up, and then I had another fight lined up. There was someone else in there. I believe maybe it was Dean Thomas, I believe. And that was supposed to be my first fight. Matt Serra was supposed to be my first fight. Then I went João Perini, then I went Dean Thomas. And then they settled on Gerald Strebent because from what I understand, it was Eddie Bravo making the push. He's got to get in. Joe was against him at the time. He's like, I don't want this guy. He's like, he's not good enough to be in the UFC yet. And so they said, you know what? I'm going to give him Josh Thompson. Josh can sprawl. He can wrestle. He can strike with him. And that was what Joe told me. Joe's like, I wanted to get him fucking beat, so we never had to see him again. That was it.
Okay.
I suck you on. I was like, here you go.
I'm going to give you the truth on this. Joe Silva, I knew who Gerald Strebent was. I'd watched him in a grappling tournament. I knew who you were. And I get the fight, right? And I told Joe, because Joe always sat at the table, right there near the commentators and stuff. And I would talk to him all the time. And I go, you don't like Gerald Strebent? He goes, no, I don't. And he's going to get fucked up.
Yeah. He literally told me like before the fight, he hinted to it.
If you knew, for people that know Joe was blunt. He would tell you exactly what he thought. So there was no, I'll play this off. Nope.
Nope.
No, I don't.
No, he didn't like him. He's like, no. He's like, I was basically told that I had to use him. He's like, I had to fight him. And he's like, okay. So he's like, I found that you were healthy, you were ready to go, and he's like, hey, do you want this fight? I was like, yeah, I took the fight. I was like, hey, I thought about it at the time. I was like, you went from giving me someone like Matt Serra and João Perini I had trained with,
Dean
he came
Thomas.
in AK, and then Dean Thomas. Now you're giving me this guy.
Perini was a great grappler, but his stand-up sucked.
Yeah. His stand-up was horrible. His grappling was decent. Like, he came in and trained with us, and
he had good grappling.
It was good. It was decent. His body style was awkward. It was awkward, but yeah, then that's how Yves Edwards got in the UFC. Is that I pulled out of that fight. It was UFC 37.5. I pulled out of that fight, and Yves Edwards slid in, and the rest is history, man. Yves, you owe me, buddy. You and Clay Guida owe me your guys' careers, man. You guys got started because of me.
There you go.
Oh man, I love both those guys now. You know, I had a little thing for the Clay Guida thing for a while, but then we just hung out recently in San Jose.
Person.
He's such a nice guy.
He's a great guy.
Here's the thing. I wasn't sure if I was mad at Clay or if I was mad at Frank Shamrock and if I was mad at his brother. I didn't like Clay's brother for some reason. I don't know what it was. It was the way he walked around like the whole week at the fight we were supposed to fight or when we did fight.
Yeah, mad dog you.
Yeah, mad dog me. He was like barking. He was like very loud about a lot of things. I'm like, man, who the hell is this guy? And then I realized it was Clay's brother. I'm like, I don't really fucking like that guy. I have never really seen him since. I mean, I think I saw him one time at a UFC event after that. But yeah, I think it was. I couldn't tell whether if I was mad at Clay or if I was mad at Frank Shamrock. Because Frank Shamrock had Clay over at his gym that whole week and was training with them and stuff after we had a big falling out. And I was like, oh, you piece of shit. Yeah. But there was a lot. There was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff intermixed with AKA and Javier and Frank and, and then Dave Camarillo came on board. It was just a lot of drama that went on during that time. And it was fucking what a shit show. Anyways, but hey, since we're talking about old times, let's talk about some older people. Myself, Big John, and Holly Holm. Look, I'm not trying to take a jab, but John, we've said this I don't know how many times. It's father time. Yes. And the reason why, and I said this a couple fights ago. Do I think she's extremely talented? Do I think that she can taper her career a little bit or her fighting style to work to her advantage? I absolutely believe she can. I thought she had moments obviously in the first round. I thought she had the better moments. I gave her the first round. In that second round, though, you could tell at the end of the first round, she was getting hit with more shots. She was getting hit cleaner with more shots. And Silva just had no respect for her power, had no respect for her speed, had no respect for what she was doing. She's like, I see everything coming. I'm able to put pressure on you. I see her coming on the
blitz. I circle out. No problem. Yep,
so all of those things, all of those things were a factor. And as they are in this exchange, what I noticed was very much what I went through. And before everyone says, hey, you know what, Josh, you always talk about what you went through. Well, let me give you an example. Frankie Edgar was going through the same type of feeling. And I could see it when he started to age. I saw it as it was happening to him. Is what it is you throw and then you stop and you wait, not knowing whether the punch got there or not, or whether you were fast enough to get in and get out. It's almost like you freeze after you throw your shots. And she was having a little bit of that hesitation as well. Because you're kind of afraid to pull out. You're kind of afraid to pull out and get clipped on the way out, on the exit.
You know what's going to happen if you don't.
Yeah, it's like, but you rather smother them though inside the pocket. Yeah, you end up 18 years for the rest of your life paying for it.
No, seriously. Oh, but if you don't, you're in that range, and you've got to either get into that clinch or start using your hands inside. And look at it, father time is a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. It's when you're so used to being successful with a certain type of attack that you have become comfortable. Yeah, there's a pattern to it, but there's a comfort for you, and you're good at it, so you can just alter that pattern just a little bit and make things work for you. And this is what I try to tell people all the time. I knew when I got slower, I was getting hit in sparring by things that never hit me before. And I saw them. I saw what was coming. I saw the setup. I saw the feint. I know it's coming, and I'm going to move a look, and I'm getting hit. And those times that you're getting hit disrupt your entire pattern and flow in the fight. And so now you're not that fighter that feels comfortable. You're a fighter that feels somewhat uncomfortable in the fight because you're having to work harder than you normally worked before, and things there's no flow. Mm-hmm. And this is what, that loss of time, we talk about all the time when, he's only going from 145 to 135. The speed difference, I'm telling you, it is little tiny percentages, yes, but those percentages make huge differences. And that's really what you're seeing now with Holly.
Well, another example, and I'm not trying to bag on him at all, and I said it about Frankie, who's one of my best friends in the whole world. Love this guy. But Dom Cruz going through the very similar situation.
Same thing.
You have something where you rely on your speed to get you in and out of positions faster than these people.
In and out of danger.
Because you had the speed for so long. And then
it worked for you for so long.
It did. And I go back to the Roy Jones situation. His whole career was based off of his speed. And sure, he had power, but he was able to hit you 2 or 3 times before you realized where he was and what he was doing. Floyd Mayweather, very similar. Floyd still got the speed, but he is slowing down. But with Roy, once he got knocked out, it just was a snowball effect. And I also feel like it's what it is those fighters, they don't take as much damage in training. They don't take as many hard, clean shots because they're not hittable during training for all those years. But as they get older and their speed slows down, they start taking those hard, clean shots, and their brain and their head is not used to that. And your knockouts come a lot more and a lot more frequent. And your brain and your head, they haven't developed that what is it? Almost like a calcification over it to accept the damage and the punishment.
I don't know if you want that.
No, you're right. You don't. But there's, I really believe, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but hear me out on this. I've thought this for the last probably 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, is that football players used to do padded practices 4 or 5 days a week. And when they were doing padded practices 4 to 5 days a week, there was less knockouts in a game, but there was a lot more like, hey, you got a concussion or you got dropped, can't get back out there, or they got rocked, but they weren't getting flatlined like they are now. You don't see guys going back in the 70s and the 80s. Very rarely did you see guys go stiff because they were already getting their body prepared for the head trauma and the damage. Now, I can't tell you which one is worse, the continual head trauma on a daily basis or the one where you get knocked out clean and your body postures like that, once a weekend. But I believe that one leads up to the other.
Neither one is good for you.
Absolutely.
The attrition of consistent blows is what leads to CTE.
Gotcha.
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy is based upon those consistent small blows that are just over time, they add up. The big blows don't help it, but the big blows are more of the concussion. You can sustain the concussion, which is, an injury to the brain. You're going to have to lay off of it. But it's when you don't lay off of the concussion and you do go back in, which guys did all the time. I was just watching the 30 for 30 on Junior Seau, who was just an unbelievable player. And you look at some of the moments in time where he got clipped, with a shot that, concussed him and he was right back in. And that's where you have these issues later on in your life where you can't control things and you don't know why. But like the brain is a crazy thing, but it is absolutely clear when you see a fighter that has relied upon speed and timing. It's so clear when that is altered and they become an altered fighter from who they were. And I believe honestly that time has come for Holly, and I don't say that with any kind of I don't want to say
happiness.
I
I
love her
about an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, as a person, she's one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. She is so pleasant to be around. She's just a great person. I don't want her to not go out on her terms, but you got to look and say, I don't see it getting any. I don't see Holly being that person that wants to be the gatekeeper, wants to be the person that, she was the champion, and if you can get past her, now you're upper tier, but she's never going to be that person fighting for that title again. She's a person that wants to fight for titles. And so I don't know what she's going to do. She's going to have to take a look at this and stuff. Yet, and a lot of people say, well, she didn't get knocked out. She got choked. Yeah, but she got choked. Why? Take a look at what was occurring in the fight. These are the things that lead to these positions. Now I'm going to stick my head because we talked about her and we said, look, she's going to try to take this fight to the ground. I know that Silva is very good on the ground. I know she's got a great submission game. I know she's got a variety of attacks, but you're going to see Holly having to take her down there to try to slow down and keep the fight within her realm to where she can do damage and not be damaged. Yeah, she's going to have to avoid the submission, but we both said she's going to try to take the fight to the ground, and she did. She was, because the stand-up, the speed, she wasn't getting where she wanted to get to. She did in the very first couple minutes, and then it started to tail off.
But like what I say is I speak from experience, and it sucks because the experience is that you realize the shots that you used to land on people, they don't respect anymore. Her side kick that she was landing, Bueno Silva just walked through. It was like no big deal. I saw it coming. I was able to blade a little bit more.
Even that oblique kick.
Exactly. All of those things they're non-factors anymore. And if they were such a factor, then she wouldn't have been trying to get the takedown as often as she was trying to get it, and pushing and driving to get that takedown. That pushing and that driving and forcing it almost is what led her into getting choked. Is that she was like, look, if I back away, now I'm going to get walked down again. I'm going to start to get even more tired. The style which she fights, she's got great cardio. She can do it all day long. She's been doing it her whole life. That's fine. But you've got to also demand the respect of with your combinations and your punches and your kicks. You've got to be able to get them off you. They have to make them respect who you are with your strikes. She was getting no respect from Bueno Silva at all. She walked right through all of her shots. She was landing the cleaner, harder shots. Even though I had Holly win in the first, you could just see, though, it was tapering off, and Bueno Silva just didn't care anymore. She's like, look, there's nothing you're going to do to me on the feet. I see everything coming, and in the clinch, sure, you're able to press me against the fence, but I can do work out of there. I can knee you. I can clinch you. I can hang on your head. And at 41 years old, I believe is what she is, you could see that Holly started to slow down as well, even though she's great with her cardio. At that age, you're like, you have to take a step back and go, man, this is a lot. This is like, I gotta let my body, recover for about, 10 to 12 seconds, 10 to 12 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. You got to give yourself some time to recover. Whereas Bueno Silva was like, no, I don't need time. I'm just going to keep walking you down. And that is what ultimately led to Holly pressuring so much and forcing, trying to get that takedown or staying in the clinch so long that the guillotine presented itself. And when it was, it was a rear naked, it was a front rear naked choke.
You want to call it a front choke or a ninja choke, but it's not a guillotine. It drives me crazy when announcers, what's that?
Yeah. It's a front rear naked choke. That's really what it was.
Yeah, it's a front. That is. Or you can call it a ninja choke. Great. It's not a guillotine. It is completely different. Once that arm comes over the top, and Dominic said it right as far as, look, you can't just spin out of it. It doesn't happen. Your head's stuck. And it's a great weapon. She did it beautifully. Even when, and I can't blame Joe Martinez, but I blame someone for saying guillotine choke. God damn it, know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Just call it a front choke. Why complicate
this
shit? Like, have you seen the Matt Serra, the viral thing that's going around when he was on Joe Silva? He tells a story about Renzo Gracie.
No.
It's so fucking great. He's like, so they had somebody that came in and was teaching. See if you can pull this up. You got to have Matt tell it, because I'm not going to butcher Matt's accent and the way he says it. But it was Matt Serra.
Silva?
Matt Serra was on Joe Silva. Was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Joe Rogan. Okay.
Joe Rogan's podcast. Did I say Joe Silva?
Yes,
yeah,
you did.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
And he tells the story about jiu-jitsu. Tells the story about jiu-jitsu, about a guy teaching jiu-jitsu. Let's see, restraint.
Drunk guy?
No, it's not the drunk guy. I saw the drunk. I've seen the drunk guy.
Reflects on fights. No. Maybe go on Matt Serra's. Let's see this one. Let's see. Former story about.
Not this one.
No. Not this one. Go to. Try and look it up on Matt Serra's page. I think it was on Joe's. Might have been on Joe's. A bunch of people had shared it. Matt Serra Instagram. Try Matt Serra Joe Rogan Instagram or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
But it's pretty funny, and if you've ever been around Matt Serra, he's a great storyteller. No, it's not.
Oh, he's funny.
God, he's hilarious.
But it was recent, right?
It was recent. It was
just on now. Okay, and let me look up JRE Companion.
Yeah, maybe they have it on there.
That's like a clips channel for Joe Rogan.
It was so damn funny the way he said it. But it was, anyways, to kind of give you a little breakdown of it, Renzo has this guy at his academy teaching a seminar, and the guy's giving the instruction and, showing like, okay, De La Riva this and, and guard this and then like giving all these ways of breaking and giving them names. And, I don't know, it's like a clip, not a.
Yeah, is it? Oh shit! Let's see. I think it may be this one right here. Let's see. Nice jump by.
I doubt it. So go ahead.
I can't hear it.
That might be the worst fucking. I think you know how you can overtrain your body.
No. It's not. No. It's pretty damn funny though. Anyways, there's Matt Serra goes. He's like, Renzo's in the room. I'm in the room. He's like, and the jiu-jitsu guy's like trying to break down all the techniques and this move, this move has this name, and Renzo yells in the back, brother, don't make jiu-jitsu about the intellectuals. Just show the fucking move. And he's like, because the guy's trying to name all these things, and the guy's like, no. And then Renzo's in the back. He's like, bro, just show the damn move already. No one cares. And so I just started laughing, man. I love it. If you've ever been around Matt Serra, he can steal the party. He can definitely just steal the room when he walks in and he just starts talking. You're like, geez, great guy, great person to be around, just fantastic fighter. We were supposed to fight. He was actually supposed to be my very first fight in the UFC, and it just didn't come about. You know who got that fight? Kelly Delonte. Got that fight. Yeah. That was at the MGM. I was like, yeah, you go ahead. You have that fight, Kelly. Oh man,
that wasn't a good fight for Kelly.
Brutal. It was brutal. He was just chasing. We were like, oh, Kelly's good at takedown defense. Good on the feet. No man, he couldn't stop. He couldn't stop the takedown. But I mean, look, I go back to this. Where does Holly go from here? Does she walk away? Does she want to try to come back and have one more fight and see if it doesn't work again, this is it for me. I just look at the younger generation. They're coming up. They're starting to figure out the women's females MMA is really making gains. It's really growing. They're getting better. They are evolving. And Holly just being Holly, who's slowing down. Look at Misha's gotten a little bit faster that she's lost the weight, in terms of coming down in weight, but it's still difficult for her to get in on the takedowns, hard for her to get the takedowns.
And
the striking is so significant. And
you just named the one person I said, look, if you want to put Holly in a fight, if Holly still is, no, I don't want to retire. Okay. Then it's time to put her in those match fights that are respectful to who she's been, respectful to who the other person is. And I look at it and say, well, look, when Holly was the champion, she lost her title to Miesha Tate. That's a great matchup. They're both older. Holly's older than Miesha, but both have slowed down a little bit. Miesha was never that fast. Miesha went off of her grappling. Holly's turned into a bit of a good grappler. That's the kind of fight I think you could, if she wants to extend her career and continue to go on because she loves it, that's the kind of fight I want to see her in. What I don't want to see her in is I don't want to see her as the stepping stone. I don't want to see her as, I want to put that name on my record. That's just what I don't want to see. She's too good a person. She's been too good for the sport. She's been too good in boxing that she was great into. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I agree with you, bud. But Bueno Silva, where does she go now from here? She's at number 10.
Oh,
she was ranked at number 10. I mean, she's going to jump all the way up to number 3, number 4, somewhere in there.
She got to jump way up. And if you look, I think there's a couple, you could say Raquel Pennington. That's a great fight. You could say Juliana Pena, because really, you've got a vacant title now. Who's going to be that matchup? Is it going to be Juliana Pena against Raquel Pennington? Okay. And if it is the winner of that, I'm looking at someone like, Bueno Silva getting a shot at that title, in the next rung. Caitlin Vieira, she's right there. You could put her in there and stuff, but I think that Bueno Silva is just off of her wins and the way she's been fighting.
Yeah.
She's put herself into that category of she could be, one fight away.
No, I agree. My man. I agree. All right, let's see co-main event.
Co-main event was Jack Della Maddalena against Vasil Chavez. Boy, this one had a lot going on in it. There's a whole lot of controversy and everything. What did you think of the fight?
I thought it was a fantastic fight. It was knocked down, drag out. I thought Chavez definitely won the first round. Where the rounds kind of differ, I think, is the second round, and then you get into the third round, which I think Maddalena won. And so I thought it was a good fight. It just really came down to the second round and how you scored it. Who took the bigger shots? Chavez took the bigger shots in the second round, but Chavez had him pressed. But look, John, I'm going to keep going back to this. We talk about it nonstop. In no way was this a robbery. It was a split decision. It was a close fight. It was not a fucking robbery. Please stop. I saw Twitter.
Did you not? Yeah. I mean, hold on. We're talking about all these guys that are great fighters. You know, Kamaru Usman. I think they got that wrong. All these people saying robbery. You know, Sadiq Youssef. You know, oh, you got robbed. All this. Guys, he didn't get robbed. Okay. Here's what happens. Let's break this down, because I went back and rewatched the fight based upon all. You know, I know what I had it as when I was watching it, and I was like, man, maybe I gave too much respect one way. Let me go back and watch it.
Wait, before you start though, who'd you score it for first?
I scored it for Maddalena.
You did.
I scored it. I scored the first round to Hafiz and Chavez, and I scored the next two for Maddalena. So I went back and rewatched it like I'm judging it, and there was no doubt. I gave the first round to Hafiz, and Maddalena got the next two, and it was simple. It wasn't hard. Now, I know that one judge went with Vasil Hafiz, but most people are looking at that, and this is where I say, when you have emotion going with you towards one fighter over the other, everything they do seems to be a little bit better, and everything the other fighter does is just a little bit less than really what it is. And that's what you had someone that came in last minute replacement, and he put on a hell of a fight. He showed balls. He showed heart. He was out there diving for takedowns when you knew his heart rate was at 198 beats per minute, man. You knew he was exhausted. And he was still going for it. He was trying everything he could do. And he fought a tremendous fight. But let's take a look at that in the first round. You watched it. You gave it to Vasil Hafiz. Why did you give it to him?
In the first round?
Yeah, first round.
I gave it to him because he repeatedly got the takedowns, had some good control. He actually landed some good strikes on the feet when he did throw. But he was the one pressing the pace and the action. I had him winning the first round.
Maddalena landed some good shots too.
He did.
Maddalena landed some good shots too, but it wasn't enough to overtake the shots that Vasil landed and the ground that he had him in. There was a couple times you looked and he could have had, the whole time I'm looking, I'm going, it's obvious you're good on the ground. Why are you not trying for that Von Flue choke? Because Maddalena kept on grabbing the head and everything, but it was pretty clear that Vasil Hafiz, he wins that first round. You go to the second round, and this is the one that people are like kind of bantering about, and it's the one that the judges were split on. They got all the other rounds were exactly the same. All three judges gave Vasil the first round. All three judges gave Maddalena the third round. So it comes down to the second round, and you're taking a look at that round. Maddalena almost had him out of that fight. He took big shots. He was diving for the takedowns to try to protect himself, which was smart. I'm not saying it wasn't, but he took some huge shots. The body shots that he took were devastating. And I give him credit for being able to continue on through some of those, man, because Maddalena was eating his body up. Big shots. And yes, he was able to get the fight to the ground. But what did he do from that position? And I'm listening to one of the commentators that's in there say, you know, he's advancing. You can advance from half guard to side control. But if you don't do anything with that position in either one, there's no strikes thrown and there's no submission attempts. It keeps you in your position, the referee's going to allow you to continue to try to advance, but it's not going to do a lot in taking away the huge shots you sustained and were damaged by earlier in that round. You were able to keep him on the ground for a lot of it, but there wasn't any real damage and there wasn't any real danger from submissions that made up for the damage and what was done to you earlier in that round. And that's that round goes to Madalena, man. And then the third round goes to Madalena too. It was a good fight. And obviously a lot of, respect goes out to Basile for the effort he put in and the great performance. But you can't let that override why Jack Madalena won that fight.
No, it was the second round was it was close, but I constantly have to remind myself, even though you didn't land a lot of shots, you landed hard, clean shots.
Damaging shots.
They literally had Chavez turned, looking towards the fence at times, just trying to desperately shooting for a double leg, and that's right there to me. It was like, look, if you landed 7 or 8 of those, which he did in that second round, that right there won you the round. 100% of won you the round, because I was never, Madalena was never in a ton of trouble in anything else that Chavez did.
Sometimes you got to look, and I know it's a weird thing to kind of say, but it's the truth. Is sometimes you got to look and be honest with yourself. Say, which guy would you have rather been? Which guy would you have rather been in that round? Jack Madalena, or would you have rather been Basile Chavez? Because one of them got fucking hit with some bricks. And I will give him credit, man. He had a chin. He hung in there. He took some huge shots, but he didn't deliver a lot of shots. Now, he delivered on controlling a position, but control is not the first criteria. It's the last. And if you can tell who won based upon damage done to striking or damage done by grappling, you know who won that round. And that's why Jack Della Maddalena wins it.
Yeah, I just want to be the guy that was on the couch watching the fight, man. That's it.
Yeah, well, I was very happy that's where I was. Both times I watched.
Exactly right. Nobody wants to be in there taking that shit. No way.
I love those.
No way. Next fight, man.
Francisco Prado against Otman Azatar. Dude, I was really impressed by Prado in this fight. He just took over and just dominated the fight as far as you could see him just cutting Azatar off and just making him fight where he wanted it to be, pushing a pace on him. It was a great performance by Prado, I thought.
Yeah, for the age that he is. I believe we saw him fight his first fight, right? And then did he lose that fight?
I believe so, yeah.
Did Prado lose his first fight? Dave, click on Prado for us, please.
I think
he lost his first fight. Yep. But he was tough in that fight. He was a dog in that fight.
Yeah, but that was against Jamie Malarkey, and that was a great fight.
As I recall.
Yep.
Yeah. And Malarkey's tough. I mean, and you could just see when Prado came in, it was like, I'm not going to show this guy any respect, man. I'm going to walk you down and throw big shots. But he took a lot of big shots in that fight. But in this fight, he was kind of on the same trajectory of doing what he did in his first fight. But what he was doing a little bit more was that he was actually making him miss a little bit more. And then on top of it, he wasn't loading up. He was just letting the punches come from his stance. In that first fight, it was almost like he was out there to try to show the world like who he was. And that's common for a lot of young fighters coming in that have never lost or that just had the aura about them, circling them, and people talking about them, the buzz about them in the smaller shows. Yeah. Then they get into the UFC and they're like, I'm going to show everybody that I still have, that I have it. I'm the man. I'm like this and that. And that's kind of, I feel like, worked against him in that first fight. In this fight, he fought more composed. He did get hit with some shots, but he also was like, I didn't let it bother him. He didn't try and chase it harder. He just kind of put the pressure, let the combination go, and it was that left hook that landed clean and put him face down, ass up, man. Azatar looked good too. Just he was getting hit with the clean, hard shots right off the bat, and then that's really what ultimately led to the left hook.
Let me say this one thing. I'm going to go back to the Maddalena fight. Josh, all the time we're talking about, hey, look, there's some guys out there that are not in the UFC Look, these guys are good and they can fight with anybody. You know, I hope that fight with Madalena versus Hafiz, I hope that shows people that guy was not on the UFC's roster. Okay, he was fighting in New Jersey, CFFC or something like that, and was pulled in for that fight. And look at what he did. And this is what, this is why we're saying, hey, there's great MMA fighters out there that are not under contract to the UFC. And, this is a guy no one expected to do anything. This just shows you. Because what is Madalena ranked at? He's in the top 10.
His ranking.
Is he not?
I don't think. I think he's in the top 15. He's 14.
There he is, 14.
Yeah.
He was
But
14.
still, but regardless, I mean, John, to go back onto your
But
point,
still.
it's guys that it's men and women, but mainly men because there's not a huge pool of female fighters.
Yeah.
But there's mainly men. Like in terms of there's guys out there like this guy Chavez. He's out there. He's not signed to one. He's not signed to PFL. He's not signed to Bellator. He's not signed to UFC. He's not signed to any major promotion.
No.
And look what he did to someone who's ranked in the
He's
top
just fighting
14.
regional shows. Exactly.
Yeah. And it really comes in like maybe obviously I think he'll get another shot. The way he fought, how great he fought. He fought a tough fight. Kid's tough. I mean, there's nothing, you can't take anything away from him. Like it just there's plenty of fighters out there that are not getting the name recognition or getting the recognition they deserve, period. This goes back to, I feel like there's not enough promotions out there. That's the thing. Like you've got fighters, there's tons of fighters in these gyms slaving away, putting their fucking ass on the line every single day in the gym. And they're training with guys like Khabib and Islam and guys like, like John Jones. These guys, I mean, they're all out there, man. There's guys out there training, with the top level guys. Killcliff, the gym Killcliff, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
There's guys in that gym that you've never heard of. And there's fighters that will come and tell me like, man, this guy is so damn good. And I've been trying to get him on the UFC's roster and they don't even care. They don't care. Like, no, he's good. We're good. We have too many 85 pounders. No, we got too many, 70 pounders.
Got too
They
many
just don't give a shit.
Dagestanis.
Yeah, we got too many Dagistanis.
Yeah.
We got too many people, and you have to start thinking though too. If you don't think the promotions look at a fighter and go, look, we already have too many Brazilians in that, in that weight class. Oh, we already have too many Americans in that weight class. They do.
Oh, yes, they do.
There's too many Dagestanis, or there's too many Russians, or there's too many, people from the UK. They do that. I've seen it across all promotions going, I can't have a whole promotion. I can't have a whole promotion filled with, one country because then no one's going to watch just that one country.
Right.
Well, I need to make it a worldwide brand. And how do I do that? I have a ton of fighters from all different countries. So, but I feel like Prado he's still young, 21. Let's not rush him. Let's just keep him on pace. And if I'm him though, don't get rushed because I don't know what you're making, but I can tell you that all the easy fights are going to come now because once you get to that next level, they're not going to, they're either going to reduce your pay, but they're not giving you easier fights. Every fight from here on out is going to be harder and harder and harder. So make sure your pay is going up and up and up. So take all the easy fights you can now while you can.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
Next fight.
Jun Young Park against Albert Duryev. Man, I'll tell you what, the Iron Turtle. I love that fucking nickname. It's a great name. But the Iron Turtle, the guy's got a great personality. Obviously, I can't, but
got great dance moves also, buddy. I saw the dance moves.
I'll tell you, man. You take a look at that. I can't understand, what he's saying other through the translation, but you could tell he's got a great personality, and he's tough as hell, man. Yeah. Every time I watch him fight, he comes out and fight. And Duryev is a good fighter.
Oh, he is.
Duryev is freaking good, and he basically dominated him for most of that fight. Just in the very beginning was that Duryev was doing well, and then Park took over, and he dominated that fight. That was a beautiful submission, beautiful rear naked choke, well done. He had Duryev hurt before that. When Duryev was just turtling up, oh my God, he's not going to change this fight around. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
But great job by Park. The Iron Turtle strikes again.
Well, I look at the Iron Turtle and Park, and I think to myself, like, he has a very Nick and Nate Diaz style. He's got a great jab. He pushes forward. He slightly makes you miss. And when he does connect, he's got a fucking hell of a chin. When his opponents connect, he can take his shot. He's got a beard on him.
He can.
Without actually having a beard. But he's got a chin, man, and he understands what he's good at. He's got a great jab that closes the distance. It keeps it in your face, and he makes you fight off your back foot. So you're constantly having to move left and right and circle and shoot, and it's frustrating. The most underutilized weapon in the game is the jab, and he's got it down. And it was just a matter of time. Sure, he took some big overhand rights and he took some big shots, but that jab was just peppering Duryev, and Duryev just had no answer for it. He couldn't get his head offline. He was getting hit with it. It was getting frustrating. He was circling left to right. And at the end of the first round, you could see that Duryev was struggling a little bit. He came out hot in the second. I was like, oh, he's fresh. He's ready to go. But then as the second round went on, he started keeping that jab in the face, and the blood started trickling, kind of getting into his eyes a little bit, or kind of bothering him a little bit, started coming down into the mouth. I start tasting my own blood. So he starts doing all that, and it has an effect on you. And you could see that Duryev was getting tired, and Park just started touching him I'd say probably about halfway through that round. And next thing you know, Park just was able to land the clean shots, boom, able to get him down. And then once he got him down, he was just controlling the top position and worked his way to the rear naked choke. Nicely done. Very nicely done. And great performance.
Yep. Norma Dumont against Chelsea Chandler. I don't give Norma Dumont enough credit because she's a really good damn fighter. As I was watching the fight, Josh, it went through my head. She reminds me of someone just style wise and the way she's built and everything. You know who she reminds me of? Pedro Hizzo. Norma Dumont.
Is that a compliment?
That is a compliment and a half. Because look, she got big legs.
Yeah.
Pedro Hizzo had big legs and she's got big kicks. When she kicks, you can tell it affects her opponent. She's got heavy kicks, right? And she's a counter fighter, and Pedro was a counter fighter who was sometimes it worked to his detriment that he waited because he wanted to counter so much and make you pay on the counter. But she's a damn good fighter. She is a counter fighter, but when she decides to go, she steps forward and she, throws her shots. She's got, like I said, good kicks. She's got the most wins in the featherweight division in the UFC ever. So, she's been doing something right. I can't remember her one loss, but she is just a solid fighter. And she took, Chelsea Chandler, who's tough. Yeah, there you go, against Macy. Yeah,
against Megan Anderson also.
No, that was before.
Oh, that's UFC.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That was in the UFC. Yep. So that's her two. But you can see a lot of good wins. Felicia Spencer, Aspen Ladd. Some good wins in there. She's a good fighter.
Yeah.
And she proved it against Chandler because Chandler's tough.
Yeah.
Chandler comes to fight except when she decides to sprint across the cage.
What's your take on that?
You know what? People get all up in arms. I always look and say, if you're doing something to give yourself a moment to reset, okay. I've seen the very best do it.
John Jones.
Everyone does it at different times. John Jones has done it. Absolutely.
Alistair Overeem.
Alistair Overeem, Conor McGregor. They've all done it because, you know what? Let's take a look at, the other side. Dan Cormier. When John Jones kicked him in the head, what was Dan Cormier doing? Besides trying to get his senses back a little bit, he was trying to run around to get away from him. That's when John tripped him up, which only made him, more dizzy and stuff. But it's not a bad tactic. It doesn't look good, and it really depends upon when you do that, where do you end up? As long as you end up facing your opponent and going back into the fight, okay, it's not a bad tactic, but it was, Dumont did not try to give her any time off of that. She was right behind her in the sprint. And so Chelsea didn't have a whole lot of time, but I give Chelsea credit. She fought a tough fight against someone who I thought had, more experience against better competition overall. But Chelsea Chandler really put on a tough performance. She got beat, no doubt about it.
She did.
But she hung in there tough.
I agree. Next fight, McKinney.
Terrence McKinney, all right, he's complaining about this loss against Nazim Sadikov. Dude, you know, we talk about it all the time. McKinney is a first-round fighter. He is explosive. He's got speed. He's got strength. He's got good wrestling. And he did all those things in the first round. And then the second round came, and it all turned around. And I know he's complaining right now about, you know.
It was pretty obvious.
What?
It gets a little. I mean, here's the thing, though, John. When you're already tired and you have an opportunity to get a sweep, and I go back to the Tony Ferguson fight. I had lost the fight. And in the third round, I was able to get into a scramble to the point where I was in a half guard sweep and was able to sweep him over, and he grabbed the fence and stopped the sweep. And we weren't stood back up. We weren't started over. We weren't putting me on top. And it's frustrating. It's already not going your way. It's like it's
frustration.
The fight's not going your way. And then you add that on top, and you're like, and the ref has no answer other than like, hey, don't grab the fence. No, motherfucker, do something about it. That's that frustration that sets in. You want to get up and sock the ref. And look, I'm just being honest. I'm being honest.
You should do it.
And it gets to that point where you're just thinking to yourself, like, it's already not going my way. Like in this, and it's been obvious. There was 2 fence grabs back to back. So if I go to sweep you and you stop the first momentum, and then you let go when the ref warns you, and then I go to sweep you again, and you just hook it with your finger. That's sometimes all it takes to stop your momentum. It's no different than when I go to throw a combination and you hit me with a little oblique kick. Well, now my power's not there anymore. You just broke my rhythm. That's the point of grabbing the fence, is breaking the rhythm of the takedown or breaking the rhythm of the sweep. Any of those things. If you just got warned and you let go, and then I went to sweep you again and you grabbed it again, it should be an automatic point deduction. Automatic point deduction.
So do you
fence
think
grabbing
Sadikov,
to me is one of the most...
When you saw that hand, the hand is allowed to be on the fence.
He grabbed it.
It's allowed to be there. Okay.
2 fingers grabbed.
Hand is allowed.
That's all. I don't give a fuck if it's one finger.
It's like a rattlesnake.
Give you the hook, buddy. I give you the hook. I'm telling you, I just don't care. If he had just warned him. And then he went back and grabbed it again.
The fence.
I go.
You're allowed to put your hand on the fence, right? Josh, you're allowed to put your hand on the fence? Okay.
Yes.
So now when my hand's on the fence, am I paying attention to my hand on the fence?
Are you allowed to have your hand on the fence? Yes. I just said yes.
Yes, you are. Am I paying attention to my hand on the fence? Is that what I'm thinking about? As the fighter with my hand on the fence, am I thinking about my hand on the fence? No.
Sometimes, yes. No,
down here.
John, I've been in there, John.
But you can see in this. No, stop.
If I know.
I'm talking about this situation right here with Sadikov and McKinney.
I will tell you about the situation. He can only sweep me to the left. So yes, I am thinking about that hand on the fence because I need to lean towards the fence to make sure that he can't take me that way. So I actually need to put my hand there. So yes, I am thinking about that. I am thinking about putting weight on that fence because he can only take me that way.
I'm not saying you're not purposely putting the hand on the fence.
No, but I am thinking about it. You want to know why? Because I need to lean into the fence because I know he can only go that way because the fence is in the way. So I am thinking about my hand being there.
I agree with you. You're putting weight on your hand on the fence. I agree with you.
Yes.
But these little fingers, when they're in the big space as far as falling into the hole, come on, dude. He's not trying to hold.
John.
He's not trying to hold.
Okay, I agree with you. Maybe the first time he wasn't trying to hold. The ref slapped his hand away. There was slaps.
I think he was trying to hold.
Okay.
The first time he got his hand slapped away.
That was the first time. And then he let go, and then he grabbed the fence right after that when the guy tried to sweep again. So that there
he
should be...
He didn't grab the fence then. That's when he had his hand on, and he's sitting there. You can see where his eyes are at, and his finger falls into the hole of it. It is part of the problem with the fact that the fence is there and that you're allowed to put your hand on the fence.
It should be an automatic point deduction.
It wasn't going to change anything.
If I gave you a warning, if
you want to say that, first off, it shouldn't be a point deduction because if you're going to be fair about it, you would say, I'll take you out of the position and put you on your feet because that's me I'm giving Terrence McKinney here an out from being underneath you. You want me to take a point? Come on.
No, I want you to put
You're
me on
affecting the
top
fight
because
too
I was
much.
about to be on top until you grabbed the fence.
You were not going to be. Terrence McKinney was nowhere close to being on top.
John, you don't know that though, because we'll never know because you grabbed the fence.
Yes, I do know.
That's
that.
my point. My point is that you never know what's going to happen in the takedown situation. It could be a takedown against the fence. If I go to lift and you grab the fence and you break my rhythm, how do you know I wasn't going to get the takedown? Oh, because my hands weren't locked all the way?
McKinney, where was McKinney?
No, I'm not talking about this fight. I'm saying in general.
Now it's not this fight. Okay.
No, in this fight, I'm simply saying, in general, this should be an automatic. It doesn't matter. Across the board, if you get warned and your hand gets slapped off the fence, and then you grab the fence again 2 seconds later, whether a finger or my finger fell into it, no, dude, you knew you were grabbing the fence.
Point deduction.
Point deduction.
You want a point deduction?
Absolutely.
You're crazy.
No,
You have lost
no,
your
I'm not.
fucking gourd.
No, man.
You have.
No.
Yes.
John.
You want people to. No, excuse me. You're going to have the third man in the cage affect the fight more than he has to.
John.
Am I not affecting the fight? Excuse me. I get to talk here for a second. Am I not affecting the fight when I take and I stand you up from a position that you were not getting away from him? I'm going to get you out of that position and let you start from your feet.
John,
you don't think that there is enough for what you're talking as a grab?
You know who affected the fight? Your ass for grabbing the fence. That's who affected the fight. Don't blame other people for what you did.
I'm blaming you.
That
Josh
goes to-
Thompson, you cheated
You know who
again.
no, that's who affected the fight. Your ass for grabbing the damn fence. That's really what it comes down to. If you didn't want the point deduction, you didn't want to bring the third man into the game, into this process, then you shouldn't have grabbed the fence. I'm sorry. It's so frustrating to see someone get a lift and the guy grabs the fence and the guy has to put him down on a takedown. It gets so annoying when the ref is slapping your hand away.
I agree with you.
And then you
It
grab
is
the fence
frustrating.
again later. It's like, okay, look, I slapped your hand away because you literally were grabbing the fence after I said, let go of the fence. Let go of the fence. I had to actually touch you to tell you to let go of the fence. Like most refs don't just slap your hand when you're grabbing. They tell you, let go of the fence. And then they slap your hand. So
Well, you're doing it at the same time.
No,
Yeah,
I get it.
No,
Normally they yell. Like, don't
trust
grab
me.
the fence.
I will grab your hand and yank it.
You were also a
and
jerk.
I would tell people. I wasn't true, but I would tell people
were.
if you're grabbing, I'm going to pull your hand. If that upsets your balance, if you go to the ground, if you lose your position, too bad.
Yeah.
You were cheating, and I'm going to stop. And that's the way to do it. But
Yeah, no, I agree. But I look at when I go back to my fight with Tony, I felt the same thing. I went to go to the sweep, he grabbed the fence. And I heard Herb say, let go of the fence. He let go of the fence, I went to sweep again, he grabbed it again. No change of position, no point taken.
did he say let go of the fence again?
John, I was covered in blood. I don't know. Like it wasn't one of my finer moments.
This wasn't my night.
Wasn't one of my finer moments, man. All I
had
know
Tony
is
against me. I had Herb against me.
fuck. And I always knew Herb didn't like me, man. He fucking hated me from a long time ago. I just was like giving me a hard time. I like Herb though. Outside of the cage.
Outside of the cage. Don't like him on that
It
night.
was just one of those things, man. Like it's so because look, the person who is trying to get that takedown or someone who's trying to get that sweep, there's no way of putting it to where it helps you. Because you can't put me down on the ground because I didn't actually officially get the takedown. So you're not allowed to do that. Correct?
And
you can't give me the sweep where you put me on top because I didn't actually fully get the sweep.
You didn't do it.
And
so I can't say you would have had it.
And if I'm the guy trying to get the takedown and I'm the guy trying to get the sweep and wanted to be on top, you're actually putting me in a more shitty position because you're standing me up now where I obviously probably didn't want to be. I was trying to get the sweep and I was trying to get the takedown. I was trying to get the fight to the ground. It just feels like there should be an option to put me where I want it to be. But then there you go again. The third man is affecting where the fight turned, how it ends up, and this and that. But then
No referee wants to be the guy making that.
But you're also helping the guy that wants to keep it on the feet. So it's a fuck situation, to be honest. For the all because the one guy and the guy that was cheating is the one that kind of gets what he wants.
The good news is I'll make this a YouTube clip tomorrow, so you guys can have an argument in the comments about
I love it. I felt like in these situations there's got to be a little bit more stricter of a penalty for that. I don't know what it could be, whether it's a point deduction, whether it's to put you down on the bottom. I don't even know how it would. I don't even know how, but I'm simply saying that
Can't
there's
put you on
got to
the
be.
bottom. There's no rule that allows
Yeah.
the referee to do that.
I know. So it's got to be a point deduction. And if we go to half points, give it a half point deduction. I know I want to keep going back to the half point stuff, but those are the things that we need. We need to. I feel
Josh
that
Thompson, you're living
better.
in Texas.
I am.
I expect you to be part of the Texas
I know.
Athletic Commission. You make these changes, mister.
I know. I need to let me get fully moved in first. Next fight.
We had Melsic Bagdasaryan against Tucker Lutz. This was actually a really good fight.
Fantastic fight.
Bagdasaryan is just he's a phenomenally elusive and quick striker. Got a lot of power. Tucker Lutz was just tough as hell in this fight. I give him credit for everything that he was working at. He took a couple of body shots, Josh, that I was like, oh, and right now I'm not feeling good from that. And man, he took it and kept going. Man, put on a hell of a performance. Tough fight to lose, but it definitely, I thought Bagdasaryan, deserved the win. But both guys really put on an outstanding performance.
Yeah, Bagdasaryan looked fantastic. He was great on the feet. First round, lost the takedown, I believe. Lost the takedown. And then in the second, third, just came on. It was just touch. Was able to stuff the takedowns, was able to keep it in his face. I think Bagdasaryan lost the takedown the last, 15 seconds of the second round, but it
he got
wasn't
up too.
enough. Hey, he did get up.
And he got up.
That's right.
He got up.
But no, he looked fantastic, man. He looked great. He's great on the feet. He's got to work on his takedown defense. He's got to work on a little bit more of the grappling kind of areas. Yeah. But he's definitely going to be someone to mess around with, man.
He relies on pushing the head down. He's big on pushing the head down, and that works for you to a point, but you got to put your hands into different positions now once you've driven him down and you have him where you want. But yeah, I think it's just a work in progress, but I think he was saying that too. He's saying, look, I'm young in MMA, and I got a lot to work on. And
how old is he, by the way?
Like that.
Dave, can you click on him? Bagdasaryan. How old is he? Top left, number 7.
Yeah, sorry.
Great. Thanks for following along.
I clicked on the wrong guy.
31. He's not super
31.
young.
He's young still. Yeah, he's got a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
He's obviously got an extensive background in kickboxing. So, because you can just tell by the way he is so comfortable on his feet, the way he mixes it up, and fantastic fighter, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do next. And I don't think, because he is 31, he's not looking to slow play. So look for him to try to step up in the competition as fast as possible. And probably more towards the strikers, obviously. UFC has a tendency of doing that because they bring the action. And if you're going to do that, you're going to match them up against guys that can strike. So,
come on, you got a bunch of guys. Let's be honest. Think of the guys that you could put
Calvin Kattar
him with that would make out. Hello, I was one of the first ones. Rob Font, even Dan Ige. But Dan Ige's got the ability to fucking take him down. I'm just not sure that Dan will, because you know how he fights. Yeah. But Dan Ige, tough as hell. That would be a great fight.
Yeah.
How about Giga?
Chikadze. Yes.
Thank you.
Good fight. I'm all for it. I mean, I'd like to slow play him a little bit, probably. The Dan Ige fight, Dan can wrestle, man. I've trained with Dan. I've grappled with Dan. He can
so
fucking wrestle. He just doesn't utilize it as much as he could. Yep. So can Tucker Lutz. That's true. But Dan to me is just at a different. He's a different grimy. He's a different level of griminess. He's the conditioning, the cardio to push you and hang on you and pressure you.
He's colder.
He's
ice
good,
cold.
Man. I love
he's
good. Fucking Dan Ige. Dan Ige is a good dude. Too.
50K.
That's what I like about him. He's a good guy. Super good guy.
All right. We had Victoria Dudakova and Estela Nunez. We had a very fast fight. We had the injury due to the posting of the arm. The dislocation of the elbow was nasty. I feel really bad for Estela, but she'll make it through it and get that fixed, and she'll be back.
Pull up the MMA Junkie Instagram. They showed the X-rays of the dislocated elbow. It's that's
not just dislocated.
That's so it was out. It's here's the socket, here's where it's supposed to be, and it's over here. There it is, right there.
Right there.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. That's a good one right there. That's where it's way past that joint.
Oh.
Yeah, that felt good.
That's disgusting. Look at down there where her elbow is when she's touching it. And that bottom one, the socket.
Yeah, you can
part
see where the bone is pushing out. Yeah, yeah. We used to do fight tryouts at my gym. Usually once a year. be on the fight team. And I had a guy, great guy. His name was Turbo. Well, that was his nickname. I'm not going to say his real name. But Turbo is fast, very, loved, Muay Thai, loved the stand-up game, unbelievable athlete. And I put him in against a guy who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and, he posts on a takedown and his elbow just dislocates like that, right? And he's sitting there and he's like, ah. I said, dude, you got a choice. I said, I can get you in a car and get you to the hospital or call the ambulance, or I said, I can pop it back. He said, I said, you're not going to like it when I do it, but it'll take away the pain. He goes, pop it, right? It was put that thing back in. He's like, oh, thank you. Oh, dude, it is so, exactly when it goes too. I got pretty good at putting elbows and shoulders back in.
No.
But you don't do it. I see people all the time doing it. It's like, you don't do it that way. It's more of a rotation. It's not a pull. You can't pull that thing that way.
I wouldn't, with my elbow, I wouldn't have you do it. With my shoulder, I would have you try probably. I would have you try. But no, not my elbow. My elbow, it seems like there's too many, the bones aren't, it just doesn't feel as stable. Your elbow doesn't seem as stable. It's like a shoulder feels like it can just kind of suck itself back in.
The shoulder's worse.
Yeah, really? Oh, no. I would go.
Yeah. Because the elbow is actually, you hold it, you take it, you actually start to turn the lower arm. When you're turning the upper arm, you just, boink, and it goes right back in. It's pretty nice.
Dave, back to the fight card. There was one thing I wanted to talk about real quick. To go back to the Jack Della Maddalena fight.
Oh my God, we're going all the way back to that?
Yeah, just one thing. And look, this is where I feel like corners are, they make such a huge difference in the fight. He almost loses that fight because his dumbass, and I said it, Della Maddalena, is that you kept chasing guillotines and darces and all this other crap. Like, there was a moment there where he tried to reach for the darce at the very end, and he basically just got put on bottom. Like, you did it, and it just didn't make any sense. Like, stop. And your corner's yelling at you, please, like, stop. And then they come back to the corner and tell him, stop chasing the guillotine. Stop chasing the guillotine. And once he stopped chasing the guillotine, it affected the rest of the fight. And a great job on him. Great job by him. But I just, like, this is when we talk about fight IQ. That's when the fighter is thinking just straight off of instinct. What do I do in the gym? This is what I do every single time, and it works for me. Now I get in the fight. Well, when it doesn't work 2 or 3, 4 times in the first round, stop doing it. It's not working. The guy figured you out. When the guy passes your guard as he's going down, as you're pulling him down, that means he's on you. Over. He understands what you're good at, and he's already worked that in the gym the last 10 days he had to prepare for the fight, whatever it is. He understands what he's doing, and so just ditch that altogether and move on. John, is there any other fights in this card you want to talk about?
There was one down
Dave.
at the bottom. Go on down there real quick, Dave, because I want to give credit to stop right there. Stop. Evan Elder had a very good fight against Gennaro Valdez. That was a tough fight. Elder looked good, but you got to give it up for Costa against Austin Lingo. Man, he looked sharp.
Yep.
That dude is technically a good fighter. He's a tough fighter, man, and he can systematically break you down, and he broke Lingo down in that fight because Lingo's tough. That was a hell of a performance. That kid can really fight.
Do you go with Lingo and Bagdasaryan? They're both featherweights, both stand-up guys.
Ooh, that would be a good one.
I mean, it's a thought. It's a thought process. I mean, that's something like just. You know what? UFC, give me a call. I mean, I can be a matchmaker. Yeah, easy. I can do that from my phone. All right, guys. That's going to wrap up our UFC talk. What else you got? What else you got for us there, Podcast Dave? But wait. Before we move on.
But wait, there's more.
Go to onlyfans.com/weighing in. Onlyfans.com/weighing in. Dave, we've got close to 500 subscribers. John.
Yeah, right.
We're hitting close to 500 subscribers. We had a plethora of people that subscribed to us over the last probably 2-3 weeks. And when I was down at Dave's this last week and just this morning and yesterday and the day before, Dave got me all hooked up. So now I actually have the login and all that stuff. So I actually posted quite a bit yesterday, and I can actually just post right from my phone. And so we're having some fun with it now.
Did you put a picture of the crew on there?
No, I don't do that.
I know. But that was a great
Don't do
picture.
that.
I
It's
just
a
want
great
podcast Dave and Josh had their kids eating ice cream.
Yeah, it
and
was
these
great.
kids are on the bench and just like, yeah, that's the crew right there.
It was
That
good.
That was a good picture.
It was awesome. I had a great time. It was fun.
Good
Spent
times.
the last couple of days with Podcast Dave down in Austin, and it was good. Good to get the families together.
Well,
Good to hang out.
I got to know, was there any fucking slaps?
Yeah,
Any
there was.
fucking straightening
As a
out?
matter of fact, there was. It was
Podcast Dave's wife slapping you.
It was Podcast Dave's son. Link kept smacking my butt everywhere he walked past me, man. I
Yeah.
was like, "What are you doing, kid?" He just kept giving me.
He
Nah.
slaps you in the ass and he says, "Hey, you booty."
Yeah, hey, you booty. It was great though, man. We had a good time. We did some. We did this like swimming hole, like down by the river. Had fun there, and then
I'm in a ravine down by the river.
we went and got some great donuts out there at Round Rock Donuts, I believe is what it was called there, Dave. Right?
Yep.
Round Rock Donuts this morning. They're not. They're like Stan's. They're just not as big. I think that's really what sells me on the Stan's Donuts in San Jose. But the taste wise though, they're pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They're pretty comparable. What threw me off
Yep.
though, I got to figure out why. Why are they orange?
What?
It's there's something to do with like
The egg yolk?
the egg wash. The egg wash, yeah, when the yolk from the egg.
I think it's
when do,
because
like, the
they
little
use
egg wash
that
for the
farm
roast.
raised, all organic chickens. They
Hey,
come out
dude,
with that
trust me.
bright.
You want to see a difference in yolks,
Yeah.
man? I will show you a difference in yolks. I am a chicken expert.
Well, I mean, I'm just being honest. The eggs, the donuts came out and they were like kind of like a bright orange. I'm like, why are they bright orange? It just seemed a little weird. And then it kind of makes
My
sense.
eggs, man, bright
They're
orange.
they're using the eggs to have the orange yolk, which is basically
And you ate them
normally.
and you were like, it doesn't matter what color they are.
Free range
They're so
chickens,
good.
baby.
Yeah, they were good enough to be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck what color. That could be fucking green, yellow, purple. I don't give a fuck. They're so good. All right.
And then Josh tried Josh Barnett, not Josh Barnett's, but the same whiskey company is what Josh Barnett makes his whiskey through as well, which was kind of interesting, right? You thought it was kind of interesting.
What's that?
The smoky whiskey that you tried.
Oh yeah. What about it?
That was good. It was good.
It was
right?
good. Yeah, it was good. And then you also gave me a Stone Cold Steve Austin IPA, which was which was a little strong, just to be honest.
It was a little strong.
It was a little strong.
Yeah.
I'm not a big.
Josh
I can't
finished it.
take
He's like, all right, it's bedtime.
yeah. I finished it. I was like, all right, it's time for bed, man. I'm going to sleep. It was,
I'm done.
but it was. Look, I'm not a big
It was
IPA.
it was the cold stone. I can't even say it. Cold
Stone
stone.
Cold.
Stone stunner.
Nah, it was-
No.
I'm
You're saying
surprised.
Cold Stone. Cold Stone is ice cream.
No, but
Stone cold stunner.
yeah,
Right?
He should have
there
named
you
it
go.
that. I'm surprised he didn't. He named it something else. But I thought,
Broken
look,
Skull.
it was good. I'm not big on IPAs though. I don't like the super hoppy stuff. But yeah, but Josh Barnett's whiskey. His whiskey was pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
You know what else is? You know who else is? Schaub's. Schaub's Tiger Thick is pretty damn good also. It's funny because I saw the whole show with him and Rogan, and Rogan's all, man, I thought this was gonna be some bullshit. It's got a good taste to it. I'm not
Really?
hating on it, man. Yeah, Brendan Schaub's Tiger. What is it? Tiger Thick.
Tiger Thick.
Tiger thick.
Yeah.
Tiger Thick. It's pretty damn good, man. It's pretty good.
I had a whiskey company contact me and say, "Hey, we're gonna put what you want into the whiskey," and it was like, "Yeah, I don't want a shit whiskey."
Nah, I'm definitely interested in something like that. That definitely sounds like fun to me. Cause
So we need a weighing in whiskey then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down.
But you gotta be basic as hell because you gotta be like Conor McGregor's
No,
whiskey,
I don't
so
got to
that-
be like Conor
so
McGregor's
that,
whiskey.
so that
I want
everyone
people to
drinks
buy
it
it.
though. No, dude, have you seen the guy?
And
The guy
drink
sold
it.
it for billions. The guy sold it for billions.
Yeah.
and people drink
Not
it.
billions. He sold it for millions.
Okay, seems close enough.
There's a big difference, buddy.
When you're in the hundreds of millions, it's close enough.
Have you seen when they have a millionaire's yacht pull up, and then the guy in in the billionaire yacht pulls up, and this is what it looks like. He just covers it like this. This is what it looks like.
And then Conor McGregor pulls up in the Lamborghini
Yeah, his
the
little tiny
Lamborghini
thing.
yacht, and you're like,
Yeah, it's not even.
That's a little compared.
no.
Yes.
Yes, it is. You're so funny.
Yes, it's
Who
little
cares-
compared.
Who cares what size it is, man? That
Is
thing's
that
a
what she
Lamborghini
tells you?
yacht.
Is that what she tells you? Because it does matter, my
every time.
friend. It does.
I'm 2 kids deep.
I'm 2 kids deep. I got 2 babies by the head. You're like, let me just put the head in. I got 2 babies by the head. Man.
I could keep going with that joke, but it would go too far.
Look, go to OnlyFans.com/weighing in.
Is that why we were talking about this?
Subscribe over there
OnlyFans?
for us for free. I did a couple some extra content there yesterday for fun, man. I'm gonna start having some more content up there for you guys, and it's gonna be fun, man. Oh, look, they actually reached out and they actually said that they like what we're doing. They like the fact that we're helping them bring on more awareness for the sports programs in terms of their sports content. And they've got a lot of athletes that are on there right now doing pretty well in terms of selling, whether it's jiu-jitsu techniques, whether it's boxing techniques, whether it's wrestling techniques. There's a lot of top level athletes on there right now that are breaking down stuff, giving them details on how to make your motorcycle faster, how to make your car faster, all these little things that will help you. So it's not just a sex site anymore, man. We're sports are making their way in there. And just a reminder, we are the very first podcast that they have ever worked with to bring more sports awareness, onto their platform. So we want to thank you guys for continuing to support us and hit us up over there. It's free subscriptions. We're not charging over there. It's free, and we just have a little extra content on there for you guys every week. So subscribe to us over there, onlyfans.com/weighing in. John, I know that was a little long-winded because we got off track.
That is all good.
With the 2 babies by the head. Oh, man. All right. What do you got for us, Dave, in news-wise?
All right, let's hop into this first one here. Jamahal Hill is injured, and he vacates the light heavyweight title.
Okay, before
so
we go
trying to
any
get your
farther,
thoughts
did you
on-
hear what he said, Josh?
Did I hear what he
Jamahal
said?
Hill.
Oh, did we lose John again?
Oh,
he's back.
There he is. Did you hear what Dave said?
Did he
Jamahal Hill.
vacate
He
the
actually
title?
said the name right.
Oh,
there was no
Jamahal Hill.
Jamahal.
Yeah. There's no
No
Jamahal Hill.
Jamahal. I am so impressed with you, Dave.
Oh, well.
There's a first for everything.
I've been practicing.
First for everything. Go ahead. So Jamahal Hill tore his Achilles. He's vacated
That's
the
not
title.
good.
And yeah. Look, good for him though, in terms of it's an injury. It sucks. Why hold up the division? Yuri Prochazka did the same thing. Glover took advantage of the situation, became champ, then it switched hands over some time.
Oh, what?
Or sorry, not Glover. It was Jan Blachowicz.
Glover beat Jan Blachowicz, who was the champion. Yuri beats Glover,
Yes.
and then he vacated based upon an injury. Jamahal Hill fights Glover for it, and now Jamahal Hill has vacated due to injury with the Achilles tendon. I can tell you, I've had an Achilles tendon tear. It sucks as far as when it happens, and it's going to be probably about, give him 8 months. He could be back in 8 months fighting. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of the surgery itself. I don't know how long it's going to be before he gets it. It shouldn't be that long, but he'll be 6 weeks in a cast or boot for at least that's the way it was back in my day, which is a long time ago, but it's about 6 weeks in a cast. And then you've got a lot of physical therapy because, you can't even do a toe raise, you got to build it all back up, and it'll slowly get better and stuff, but it's a shitty injury to have, but it heals well. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the same guy. It's not going to change anything about him once he comes back. It's just the loss of time, and the physical therapy he's going to have to go through is going to suck, but that's part of the sports world. That's part of being the champ.
I'm going to bring something up, and Jamahal Hill, you can maybe correct me on this at all. But I believe that he played in a basketball game with DC and those guys, all those guys while they were at the July, what was it?
Yeah.
The UFC fight week, right?
Yeah, at the fight week.
It makes me wonder if this had anything, because literally he got back and this week it was torn, and it was torn Monday or Tuesday. So yeah. I know the UFC I know they're dabbling in doing things for their fighters to get together and having events and stuff while it's, what is it called? Fight week?
Yeah.
UFC.
International Fight Week.
International Fight Week. There you go. So I know that they're doing that. But the NFL got away from all that stuff. Remember when they used to have them run the 40? Remember when they used to have them
because they actually had injuries.
They had injuries. So I wonder.
Yep.
I'm not saying this is what it was from, but I'm thinking it's Jamahal Hill. And the other part that sucks for Jamahal Hill is that you don't make money. Don't get me wrong. I know he's probably making pretty decent money, you know, whether it's 250, 350, 400,000, you know, whatever it is a fight. All those things, his business. But you don't make that championship money until you defend the title the first time. So defending the title the first.
He gets his pay-per-view money. He becomes business partners with the UFC is the way they look at it.
Yep.
Is you become our business partner when you defend the title.
And he didn't get that opportunity.
No, he didn't.
And so,
but he will.
But will they pay him that contract though that he vacated it? That's what makes me wonder.
I do think they will because look, he's doing them the favor. He could have held on to the title and made them strip him. You know, if that's what they were going to do, but
they wouldn't have stripped him.
I don't think they would have. And so I think they looked and told him, "Hey, look, you know, Dr. Jeff Davidson is the UFC's medical director, and that he went to them and said, look, it's going to be 8 months before he can fight. Easy. And that's if he really works at it and does what he's supposed to do, which I'm sure he will.
Absolutely.
8 months. So do they want their light heavyweight title sitting there for 8 months? No, they don't. So this is, I'm not sure if they're going to change it over to Alex Pereira against Blachowicz. Is that going to be a championship fight? Are they going to actually do that? They could. I'm not saying they're going to, but they could coming up. You've got the BMF title, and you could have the light heavyweight title on the line, and then told him, hey, when you come back, you will still have the contract, which would be like you were the defending champion, and we'll let you fight for the title. So against whoever that's going to be at the time. It's going to be an odd mix-up, though, because you got Yuri sitting there. He's been out. You do have the Blachowicz versus Pereira fight coming up. You could make it that way. Does Yuri Yuri's going to come back before Hill. So it all could work out well, and there's a lot of good fights.
John, I want to know, where do you put that fight, though? Where do you put Pereira and Blachowicz? Is that for the vacant title? And if it is for the vacant title, does it go ahead of the BMF title?
Doesn't matter.
Do you drop?
It does matter, John. I look at it this way. It does not matter.
It absolutely does matter.
Not. Really? To who?
I'm
asking you.
Well, because in most contracts, it says if you're the main event, you get a higher pay. So yes, it does matter.
Stop. So that's already been done, hasn't it?
What's been done?
What? Dustin
BMF
Poirier
is the main
and
event.
Justin Gaethje. Hold
the main
on.
event.
Is the main event. So I'm not going to change it. I've already had that in my contract. They are my main eventers. They're the ones that are making more. You're right. And this one, even though, yes, it's the title for the light heavyweight, I'd put it as the co-main. Or it's the double main. Whatever you want to say. So what? This is where people get all fucking butt tied up with their panties all in a fucking bundle over who's going to be the first fight. Is it this one or is it that one? Who gives a shit? You're going to get to see the fight.
I agree with what you're saying. We do get our panties in a bunch too much over who's going to go first, who's not. But where this takes place, how this is different is I respect Gaethje and I respect Dustin. I think they're two of the best fighters to ever walk the face of the earth, and they're definitely two of the most exciting. I love both of them as fighters, both of them, and I've met Dustin in terms of I think he's a good person, really good person. I haven't met Justin long enough or talked to him enough. But that being said, you have a not real title ahead of the real title. That's the only thing that I would say. What does that do?
Hold on.
Okay.
It was not set up that way.
I know.
Right? And it wasn't. This is just something that occurred based upon Jamahal Hill being injured. And we had this light heavyweight matchup, which is a fantastic matchup. It's a prior middleweight champion against a prior light heavyweight champion, and we can make it for the title. Why not make it for the title? Don't change the order. Don't change anything with that. That doesn't matter. Just make it a title fight. It's your first title fight, and then your BMF, since that has been your main fight for all of your marketing, it stays as your main fight.
I don't know. I would feel a little slighted if I was fighting for the real world title at light heavyweight, and you have a BMF title ahead of me on this as the
Let
main
me ask you
event.
this.
I would just feel
Okay,
a little
let me ask you
slighted.
this.
But I get it.
Okay, let me ask you this.
I get it.
But let me ask you this. Josh, you have the ability to fight a light heavyweight fight as the co-main event, or you have the ability to fight for the light heavyweight title as the co-main event. Which one are you going to take?
I'm going to take both of them. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you want to fight. That's what
It does
you want.
matter. Which one? If you were given one opportunity, I can fight. We'll say that you're Alex. I can fight Jan just as a fight. It's a co-main fight. Or I could fight Jan for the title. Which one are you going to take?
Yeah. You're obviously, John, you're going to take the title. But you're trying to shape the argument, though. And I'm saying,
I'm
look,
not.
I don't care where it change. I don't care if it changes. I'm saying though, is that are you setting precedent that the title that the BMF title is now ahead of the real title? That's all. And are you potentially, like, it's a slippery slope kind of situation? Are you opening the doors for other stuff later on down the road for people to say, well, that happened before in the past, so don't tell me you're not going to do it for me. Like, that's all I'm getting at.
Okay.
Do I think? Go ahead.
I had a little battle. I don't want to say it was a battle because it really wasn't, but with Ant Evans, who used to work with the UFC, over the Chicago card for Bellator with Sergio Pettis taking on Patricio Pitbull and Nemkov taking on Romero. And he was saying it's bullshit that they put Nemkov and Romero as that top fight. It should be Pettis. And it's like, who cares? I agree. I thought that Pettis, when asked, I said I would put Pettis versus Pitbull as my main event. But they decided not to, and it's their choice. And in the end, does it matter?
Yeah. But you're taking two real titles. That's the difference.
Yes.
When you're taking two real titles, it doesn't matter.
But you weren't, this was never set up to be a world title fight between Blachowicz and Pereira. But the opportunity comes in. It's like, why not?
I get what you're saying. I'm not denying what's going. Like, it was a situation that fell on their laps. We could just be sitting here speculating anyways. They haven't even said they're going to make this a title shot.
This is true.
They haven't even said that Jan and Jamal Hill, or not Jamal Hill, but Alex are going to be fighting for the title. Yeah, they haven't even said it.
I know.
I'm just playing in my head. It would make sense for them to crown a champion as fast as possible.
Yeah.
There would be that. And these two obviously would be number one, number two contenders. They're number one, number two. Alex coming up in weight. They pushed him that direction, so it would make sense. Look, he beat Izzy, knocked him out, and then he lost to Izzy by knockout, and now he's up fighting Jan. It would make sense for them to make it for the title, the vacant title.
Yeah.
And then if Yuri comes back, he fights the winner.
Yep.
Go ahead. Let's go next.
All right. We got a flyweight fight announcement between Mokaev and Tim Elliot.
Good fight.
I think it's a super fight. I love it. First off, I love Tim Elliott. He's a gangster. The guy comes to fight. He goes through all kinds of transitions in a fight that you look and you think, you shouldn't be doing that. Nice move.
Yeah.
He does stuff that is definitely different. He's just a workhorse. He's a machine. He's up against a tough young fighter in Muhammad Mokaev. Mokaev is just, the kid's good, and he's proven that how good he is. Does he have the experience to last with a wily, crazy veteran like Tim Elliott? He definitely has the skill set. He has the speed. He has the strength. He has the technical ability. But sometimes in these type of fights, those wily veterans do things that start to derail a young fighter that has not faced someone that can be resilient in times when they feel like they're doing good and stuff. This is a great matchup, and I'm really high on Mokaev, and I love Tim Elliott, so I can't wait for that fight. That's a flyweight battle that I cannot wait for.
Let's not forget what Tim Elliott did with DJ. He gave, and that lets you know that, look, at the time, DJ still is considered one of the best, if not the best. But on top of that, though, would give everyone fits, and Tim Elliott gave him fits. Tim Elliott was just giving him a hard time everywhere they went. Made it very difficult. Just changed positions, scrambled, created scrambles when he didn't need to create scrambles. Like, kind of made it sometimes more difficult on himself sometimes by doing things that were just unorthodox. And Mokaev's going to have to deal with that and having to figure out, okay, where are you going? What are you doing? Are you doing this to set up a trap? He's going to have to be thinking about those things during this fight. Why are you going this way? You have an awkward style. It's a style that which I don't train with every single day. Are you doing this because you're going to roll through for a knee bar? Are you doing this because you're going to try to fly a knee? What are you doing? Are you dipping down because you're going to come up with a head kick? All of those little things he's going to have to process live in the moment. And we're going to see how he handles all that as this fight goes on. So look for Tim Elliott to be explosive, do things that Mokaev's never seen, and we're going to see how Mokaev deals with it. It's going to be a fun fight.
Yeah.
A really
It's
fun
a great
fight.
Great
Next.
matchup. Like it. Good call.
GSP teases grappling bout against one of the Diaz brothers. A little vague, but nonetheless, it's he's touting this. People have been speculating Khabib as well. So between the Khabib Diaz brothers, what do you guys think about GSP in a grappling match?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Khabib, because Khabib's training right now for, it sounds like, a grappling match. So I wouldn't be surprised. And obviously they'll probably take it somewhere over in Dubai or Saudi Arabia or something like
Abu
that.
Dhabi.
Dubai, Abu Dhabi, yeah. So somewhere over there. So I wouldn't be surprised. Khabib's been training. He's been getting himself in shape. He's talked about doing a grappling match. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was against GSP. There was all that talk about them potentially fighting, which then wasn't going to ever really happen. But it was. But this would be just for fun. Obviously, the two of them coming out and and grappling and training together, and competing against each other in grappling. I would love to see him and Nick do it again. In terms of not grappling, but in terms of I would like to see him grapple and not fight, but them getting back on the mat again, or them being competitive against each other again. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I look at that, and if I was going to pick one person, I would say it would be Khabib. Khabib would be the guy that you would look at and say, it makes sense. It makes sense for George. It makes sense for Nurmagomedov. And I look at it and I go, and I'm just going to be straight out honest. It's not a good matchup for George in a straight grappling match. That is not going to be an easy thing for him. It's not, and people are going to start, he was the greatest wrestler in MMA. No, he was not. Okay. He made his wrestling work for his MMA style, and he was fantastic at it. But it was because of his striking and everything else that set it up. And it's going to be different just in a straight out grappling match. It's going to be a little bit harder for him, but good for him. He wants to still have fun, and this is his way of having fun. And so go do it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Not getting punched in the face.
Next, what do you got for us, Dave? What else?
All right, wrapping up on this one. Dana White makes Sports Illustrated top influential figures in sports. Jake Paul also hits that list as well, alongside people like Messi, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Pat McAfee. I want to get your thoughts on
Patrick
on
Mahomes.
these guys
Did he
that
make the
influence.
list? Patrick Mahomes make the list? Come on, buddy.
I'll
He's
tell you in a
got to make
second.
the list, man. Him and Travis Kelce, they got to make the list. Fucking legends. Future legends. Yeah, they got to be there. There he is. That a boy. There you go.
Damn it.
Patrick Mahomes.
Who else did you say?
Fucking no
First off,
brainer.
it should, when you take a look at what Patrick Mahomes being a no-brainer or Dana White.
No brainer.
Dana White's a
No,
no-brainer.
I think both of them are. I think both of them are no brainers. Both of them.
I'm being honest. I think Dana White is more of a no-brainer than Patrick Mahomes. Not that, look at Patrick Mahomes
Yes.
has an influence in football, no doubt about it. But Dana White is, when you're looking at combat sports, there's no promoter, there's no one that people look more to than Dana White. Josh, I was just doing the fighter only award things and putting in my people to be nominated and stuff. And one of them is leading man. And it's like, how can you not say Dana White? He's the one that leads the sport. I think he's won it every year and he's going to win it again. And you look and you go, yeah, well, it's one of those, hey, as Dana White goes, so goes the sport of MMA. No matter if it's the UFC or other promotions, he still is the guy steering that, making that rudder move whichever direction he wants. He has a huge influence in all of combat sports, because as soon as he starts talking about boxing, people are like, huh? He's going to do boxing? He's not going to do boxing. But as soon as he starts saying something, they think he is. He's a huge influencer.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna deny between the Mahomes and the Dana White thing. I think Dana White, he's influencing a whole sport worldwide. Football is, seem to forget that football is just America. Don't get me wrong, they're traveling over to Mexico every once in a while and also to the UK.
London.
But they're only doing it once or twice a year, given whatever the circumstances are and situations with stadiums at the time. But but that being said, he's influencing it all around the world. Dana is, in terms of the sport. So definitely more influential than Mahomes. But what Mahomes is doing though is he's influencing a lot of young children to be active in football, to chase their dreams, to do all of those things. I wouldn't say Dana's doing that as much. You know what I mean? Like, he's influencing he's influencing fighters at a level that they feel like they can achieve to chase that dream. I agree with that. But I'm talking about young children from the ages of, 4, 5, 6 years old. I mean, those young kids were thinking they want to be Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. There's a couple kids that are in there that want to be, Khabib. They want to be Islam. They want to be Daniel. They want to be Cain Velasquez. They want, those are the things. Like, there's kids out there, but those are few and far between. There's a lot more of them on a scale in terms of in the football industry, I think.
I would agree with you in that fashion, but just one step back. We just had International Fight Week. We were just talking about it, and think about all the things that are put on by the UFC, and all of that is part influenced by Dana.
Mm-hmm.
And so think of all the kids going to all of those different things that are happening in International Fight Week, all the dads that are bringing their kids, all the fighters that those kids are meeting. Big influence.
Wait, so these dads bringing their kids, so they're not supposed to be doing that, from what I heard. Just
Stop!
How shitty dads are. How shitty these dads are for bringing their kids to events to meet fighters. What are they doing? Having their kids watch fights and fighters and stuff. Anyways, look, and to go back on that a little bit is, if you ever want this sport to hit the next level worldwide, to get to that next level, you want to involve children. Children are the future of everything you do, of everything we do. They're the ones that are, whether it's new tech, whether it's, evolving the football game, the baseball game, the basketball game, all of those things. You want children involved. You want them to you want them to see how the sport is growing, where it's come from, how they can game plan in their own mind, maybe, and think about ways to make it better as they get older. Children, it sounds really cliche, but children are the future, obviously. But bringing them to events, making it more of a family atmosphere for children, and coming with your dad and your mom and your family, whatever it is, that's something we've gotten away from, as not just a country, but as in being human. I think we got to get back to that. Just taking our kids to live events, being present, with your kids, not just, hey, here's a ticket, go with your friends. No. That's not how this shit works, man. You go everywhere with them, and you enjoy it with them and be a part of their lives. All right. Next thing, is there anything else there, Dave?
We're going to wrap up there, actually.
I did want to talk about one. I wanted to talk about one more thing. Was actually two. There is actually two more things if you guys got time. You guys got time? You guys got time to shoot the shit for a second? Give me about another 15. Give me another 15 more minutes. So Michael Chandler and Islam Mokaev got into it a little bit, or there was some back and forth. Islam says, "Who's my opponent?" And Chandler comes out and says, "Your time is coming," I think is what it said. Do you want to look that up, Dave? There's that. And then I also want to talk that there is a little bit of, I don't know if I got to reach out. I haven't touched, and I know I'm a mainstay, kind of an alumni of American Kickboxing Academy. But I got to be honest, the way that I see Cain Velasquez training in the gym, do we see a return?
Oh, I knew you were going to say
I'm looking at the heavyweight division. John.
Okay. And you're seeing
a guy can wrestle. I'm seeing a guy physically
in sweat, taking and putting 3 pounds of water out of his shirt.
I'm seeing a guy who is physically filling back out, muscular wise, physically looking like, and he's healthy, and he's in there 5 days a week, sometimes 4, but given whatever it is. But yeah, he's there. He's back ingrained into the game, helping young guys get better. He's the coach. I get it. But I almost get the feeling there might be a little scratch of that itch. I almost get the feeling when I look at that heavyweight division, all of them are stand-up guys. None of them can compete with the grind. None of them can compete with that cardio. None of them can compete with that grind.
Stop.
John Jones can. John Jones. But
okay. Well, then what are you talking about?
Well, I look at. I'm thinking John Jones. I don't know if John Jones is going to be around long. I think if he beats Stipe, I think you may see him retire. He's already said it. He said it publicly.
Boy, he'd
I'm
be
going to get
leaving
my
a
2
lot
fights
of
if I
money
beat.
on the table, dude.
He would.
He just
would.
signed a big contract. No, he just signed a big contract. And he would be
He
leaving
had said it.
a lot of money on the table if he decided to retire off of that. When you're looking, what's the reason for him to retire? Where is the threat right now? Where's the threat? Is it Pavlovich with power?
Pavlovich, maybe.
I
mean,
that's
that's
what I'm
it.
saying. Is it Pavlovich with the power? Okay. But really, he's sitting there by himself.
Yeah.
And
I'm not denying it.
Do you think the UFC would give Kane a title shot just coming back?
No. He'd have one fight coming in.
Yeah.
But if you look at the heavyweight division, I could see them matching him up against somebody like a Curtis Blades, a Tom Aspinall, somewhere in that mix. I don't think he'd come back. Yeah, I don't think that they would. I would like to see him come back and fight a Stipe Miocic. I'd like to see that because the age and that, but it won't happen. They're going to try to build somebody off of his name. I would say a Tom Aspinall is who they'd be looking at.
Yep.
Maybe of Spivak and maybe an Almeida. What's his name? Gelton Almeida.
Yeah.
He just fought. Remember the young stud.
I know. You're talking about Gelton Almeida. Yeah. Gelton.
Yep. I'd say Almeida. I could see them giving him an Almeida or an Aspinall. And if he could beat them, then that puts him right into that conversation. Yeah. You think so? Wait, which one would be a mistake?
Mistake is putting Gelton Almeida or Tom Aspinall against Cain Velasquez. You're taking one of your young heavyweights now. Look, if there's one thing that, if anyone knows Cain, they know what he's made of. Mm-hmm. Now there was a portion of his career where you can look and say, and even the last bit, he was never the same guy. Injuries create situations. Injuries change fighters. If he has had the time off and he's injury free, yes, he's older, but he hasn't been damaged lately. His bad back, the other elements that were there that caused him problems, the knees, if those are not a problem for him, look, he's a handful for anybody. You know that.
Yeah, I know that. I see him filling out muscular wise. I see him in there grinding. I see him. He's putting in the work, not just with the young guys and the small guys. He's putting it in with everyone. I'm not saying he's going to return. I'm simply saying I almost get the feeling he may want to scratch that itch. Maybe just one more time. How old is? Can you look him up? I think he's 41.
He's 41, I believe.
I believe he's 40. Yeah, I think he's 41. He might be 40, but I think he's 41. Yeah, he's 40.
40.
Yeah,
40.
82. He's 40. Yep.
When's his birthday?
Anyways, that's a conversation I think I'd like to probably dabble in, maybe see if there's something there that he's, interesting.
Yeah, he's going to be 41 here in a couple days.
Oh, there you go.
I'm trying to find it. There you go. July 28th.
July 28th.
July
28th. Oof. 41. But I mean, he's got a gas tank, man. That's one of the hardest things the heavyweights have to deal with. So just keep that kind of in your mind. I'm not saying it's happening. I haven't talked to him about it. I haven't talked to Javier about it. I haven't talked to anybody about it. I just get the look and I see that look in his eyes. Like it giving me that flashback of that look of when he's wringing his shirt out. I've seen that thing. I've seen him do that at the trash can, fucking 300-400 times easily 300-400 times. Seen him out there. He just has that look to him. He just physically has the look to him in the eyes and the feeling. I just get the feeling. Now the Islam Mokaev situation is who? It says Dana White who and then location. And then Michael Chandler replies.
See, if you're the champ, there's nothing else you have to say.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Chandler says, "Our time is coming."
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Is it?
Well, here's the thing. It may be coming. It depends on how much Islam Makhachev wants to fight in Abu Dhabi. Because if you look at who is all there, there's no one there that can fight him right now. Charles wants more time, and so he won't be fighting him in Abu Dhabi. And the other two guys that are number 2 and number 3 or whatever are fighting each other here coming up. Those guys are going to beat the shit out of each other. They will not be ready to fight by October, or they may not want to fight by October. So there's that. And then you go beyond that. Who else? You got Benil Dariush off of a loss. That's gone. I don't think that's going to happen. Where we at? Who else? Lightweight.
Oh, you got
lightweight. You got Chandler.
Chandler or Fiziev.
That's it. Yep. You know, I mean, look at. I'm going to throw a little wrench in there, and I'm not trying to skip over Fiziev or Gamrot, but Sarukian fought him to a fucking really tough fight.
Yeah.
You know, and I know he was sick, and I know that Islam was sick and was on antibiotics, but it doesn't matter. He fought him to a tough fight, and Sarukian's gotten a lot better on the feet, and he's also
Sarukian's going to give everyone a tough fight.
Yep, exactly. So I mean, what do? Do you jump? Do you have him jump Chandler? But Chandler also has all the hype train behind him because of the Ultimate Fighter. And now that you know that it sounds like potentially because Chandler's chasing the title and chasing this fight with Islam, that the Conor fight's off the table.
Is it?
That should let you know. If you're telling him, hey, your time is coming, da 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 da, and Chandler knows he doesn't have a fight, and he wants to fight in Abu Dhabi.
Dave, have they put out a time where the Ultimate Fighter finale is?
I'm looking.
Because it's supposed to be this year, right? Is it in December?
Yeah, I think it's like November. I think it's end of November.
November?
I believe it was November, yeah. What Ultimate Fighter is this? Which Ultimate Fighter is this?
This is 30.
Ultimate
season
Fighter.
30.
Go season 30, yeah.
Finale. See when it's scheduled for.
Here we go.
Does that say August 6th?
Yeah, I knew it was August.
August. I thought it was November. August.
Wow. August?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The show's just been on. The show's like halfway through or more than halfway through right now.
Yeah, it's Chandler has won 7 fights in a row. Conor hasn't won any. There's 1 fight left. But
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Conor doesn't win that one either.
I'll tell you what, I would doubt it. But I have heard, and this is, I know who's in the finals, but I'm not going to sit here and say that's for everyone to watch and find out. But you're talking about that USADA pool, and Conor's not in it. Well, he's in it, but he hasn't been tested. But neither of some of the people on that damn Ultimate Fighter thing.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've heard the same thing.
So if they're letting those guys fight and there's no USADA, then what's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how serious they want to take the USADA situation right now. I mean, it just seems a little weird. The whole thing that happened with Dana saying, did he say fuck USADA? Like, we'll just do what we want. Did he not? Did he not? I never said that.
They have tape of it.
That.
They have. Well, yeah. Look, I don't care if he did or not, and I understand his point. Is look, he's got a promotion to run. He's got fights to put out, and he's got to work within that USADA, umbrella. But who's paying USADA?
Yeah.
Come on, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Who's paying him? And it's a lot of money. So I know, hey,
I mean, there's always been a little bit of a conflict of interest, John. We've all known that. There's always been a conflict of interest.
And I'm not,
But
look, I want to make this very clear. First off, I give the UFC nothing but credit for trying to do something when they knew there was a problem and trying to put people under an umbrella that made them follow the rules and know that they're going to be tested and things like that. They've done a great job with that. And that's cost them a ton of money. That program started out, when it started out, it was over $6 million a year. Okay. It's more now. Things have gotten more expensive, obviously, but it's that is not a cheap program for them to do. And in no way does it actually help them as a promotion. A lot of people are going to sit there and say stuff about, commissions. Commissions are testing all the time. Most of the time, the commission, if the UFC is coming, will use the USADA testing that they already have. But commissions do test. Bellator gets fighters popped all the time. I can name them off. I don't do it, but they get popped.
Oh yeah,
because some of them are cheating, just like some of them in the UFC are cheating still. But I don't know. I just look at it and go, they're not letting Conor fight, but I do know that they have the Ultimate Fighter finale coming up, and they might have people that haven't been tested in that too. I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we lost Big John. He's having some problems with the moles again, attacking his Wi-Fi wire, whatever it is, underground. So, look, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. Go to WeighingInMerch.com. You guys can support us there by picking up some of our merch. Got some new designs that are out. I want to thank you guys so much. And OnlyFans.com/weighingin. Support us over there. Subscribe to us. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. And like I said, I'll be posting a lot more over there. Try to get Big John to post over some more farm stuff on that site at OnlyFans.com/weighingin. Thank you guys so much. And in John's words, we will see you.